Hello everyone, this is part 2 of What If Naruto Didn't Come Back After 2 Years, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. The clouds floated by serenely in the otherwise empty blue sky as they avoided collision with the golden yellow sun. Down below, two figures sat together and took rest under a sturdy oak that provided adequate rest. It just wasn't fair. After years of trying, the rookie 9 and their senseis gave up attempting to reveal that man's face. Only one other person had the privilege of seeing it, and Ayami would only revert back to heart-shaped eyes whenever the incident was brought up. Despite all their hardships and attempts, the person who saw Kakashi's unveiled face was one who had seen it many times before. In fact, this was the person who first pulled it off of him. Only this person knew just why he wore it always to begin with. Kakashi-san. Silence ensued. She knew he was awake. The lazy bum just refused to answer her. Kakashi-san. Still nothing. He is back, you know. That poor boy has been back a little over a week and he still hasn't been visited by his former team leader. You know, I would like to meet him as well. Isn't it about time? Quote. I already checked up on him. Naruto is doing just fine. He is probably feeling better than he ever has in Konoha. There, maybe that would be enough to keep this one quiet. Wasn't it enough that he had agreed to give up his favorite series of novels for her? Did he really have to converse with her whenever she felt like it? What do you mean? Apparently he had to do just that. The best way to take control of a conversation was to be the one who asked all the questions. It was about time the copycat ninja understood just who was in charge here. He finally has Sakura's attention. That's all he really wanted anyways. Yes, you heard the Junin correctly. That was all he wanted. It was his dream of dreams and the sole reason he above all else desired power and recognition. However, unlike Kakashi's other student, he had not allowed his heart to darken with greed. That much was not in Naruto's nature. Nothing could ever keep the boy down. Yes, he did get depressed. Probably more often than anyone in the village ever knew. Hatake Kakashi didn't need to use his Sharingan in order to see that much. And what is that you have always wanted? She spoke in a sing-song tune with a little bit of a tease mixed in. She already knew his answer. You. There it was. Liar. There was no disputing his past. Even if his actions could be labeled as the standard acts of a ninja, it did tarnish the idea that he had always loved her for as long she had carried feelings for him. Slowly the ninja woman began running her hand through Kakashi's unusual hair while she started humming a sweet and tender tune to herself. They once again had reached a sore subject. Both of them knew exactly what he wanted. It was the one thing that may be unobtainable. The restoration of honor. I think I shall go visit him, Naruto that is. God, her voice was so naive and innocent. Everything about her reminded him of the purity that only a child had, yet she managed to retain that part of her throughout the years. Then again, it was probably why he had come to love her. He doesn't know who you are. That's why you are coming with me. Oh, there was a slight tease to her voice. This mysterious woman knew something that Kakashi wasn't aware of. No matter what it was, it couldn't possibly be good. That sweet and innocent routine of hers had to wear off eventually. With an unconcerned, even sluggish look upon his face, Kakashi quickly began scanning the area for her chakra. Now where did that little trickster go? Suddenly from behind, Kakashi's vision was sealed off as two silky white hands hindered his view. You're going to have to do better than that, oh great Sharingan Kakashi. However, the kunoichi quickly realized that her hands were now wrapped around a tree stump after the fake Kakashi puffed away in a puff of smoke. She felt herself being lifted up in the ninja's arms as he now grabbed her from behind and held her bridal stride. The two were about to depart to visit Naruto when the ninja woman spoke up. Wait. We can't go see Naruto like this. She reached down to the ninja's neck and pulled his face mask up to cover the lower half of his face. There, that's better. Both parts of the pair knew the copycat ninja was smiling underneath that mask, but it would not be spoken. Anyways, wasn't it time to leave and go visit one of his former students? He had never been very prompt with making his appointments on time, but being a week late was a new record. He was about to make off with his prize into the sunset, but a few things prevented him from doing so. The primary problem being that she was hardly his prize. He was lucky to have her and knew it, no matter how little appreciation he showed at times. Kakashi couldn't show dependence. Dependence leads to weakness. That was a trait a ninja of his caliber could not afford. Then of course there was the little problem that suns don't typically set in the middle of the afternoon. Blasted solar system ruining its timing. Who would have figured that for once in his life, Kakashi would be early for an event? Naruto. Again, more silence. Men don't like to talk. Why can't their counterparts ever seem to understand that? Naruto. Seriously, was it some kind of deficiency that all women were born with? Naruto. True, females did tend to mature faster and generally become more responsible, but it was like all of them had the same cognitive anomaly that gave them access to selective hearing. That or the desire to boss other people around, be it via a sweet and seductive routine or through the use of brute force. A torrential waterfall fell down upon the blue-eyed blonde's head as Sakura unleashed a bucket of ice-cold water upon him. What was the saying? If women ruled the world, there would be no war. There would be no peace, but there would be no war. Despite his newfound dampness, Naruto only managed to groggily open his eyes. What is it, Sakura-chan? Have they given me a mission already? It had been so long since he could be considered a true ninja of Konoha. Humph. Do you really think they would give you a mission without receiving a clean bill of health from your doctor? Oh god. Naruto might just be in hell. Sakura had power over him. She would swing that little treat in front of him like a carrot on a stick. The infamous unruly Uzumaki might just find himself tamed after she was through with him. Then let me sleep. I'm not exactly allowed to do anything else at the moment, am I? He closed his eyes again and ignored the dampness that was upon Sakura's bed. Correction. Don't get the wrong idea. Guest bed. In the guest bedroom. Which was not her bedroom. However, it was still her bed, technically. She did own it. Naruto would have to remind himself to be more specific in the things he wished for. With his senses continuing to dull with the returning sleep, Naruto didn't notice Sakura grab the sheets he slept upon and thus flip him out of bed by yanking them out from under him. He landed upon the floor with a thud but continued to sleep undaunted by all the ruckus going on around him. Naruto, don't make me dump boiling water on you this time. Naruto blindly reached out his hand grasping at air until he found a sheet that would be suitable enough as a blanket. He pulled it over him and continued his slumber. All right, Naruto. Boiling water it is. It's too bad. Boiling water like that could be better used for other things. Like say some of the ramen Iruka-sensei had sent you in his care package. Naruto's old sensei was unfortunately away from the hidden village with most of the Konoha 9 at the moment on a peacekeeping mission. However, he was the only one of the group to know that the mischief maker had finally returned. Sakura could have sworn she saw Naruto's ears twitch slightly. Damn. She was sure that would have worked. Sakura sighed to herself while a smile crept up upon her face. It looks like she would have to stop treating him like the annoying kid who bothered her relentlessly so many years ago. If he could resist ramen, then he was certainly a boy no longer. It was time to step her game up a notch. He might have been able to resist ramen, but if she understood anything about Naruto, he wouldn't be able to resist. Quote, oh, that sultry sexy voice was too much. She was wrong before for thinking Naruto was a man for being able to resist ramen. The truth was Naruto was a man for not being able to resist that tone. He sprang up from his makeshift bed fast enough to make him dizzy. His chakra control wasn't what it should have been in his weakened condition. Sakura finally caught a glimpse of a brief but undeniable yellow flash. Could it be? Sponge bath. I should get injured more often. That cheeky grin and childlike attitude. It was unmistakably his. The cherry blossom couldn't help but smile at him as he brought his hand up to rub the back of his head while he let out a chuckle. He was still the same. All right, well, hang tight. I'll be right back with the sponge and water. Don't go off and fall asleep. She returned a few minutes later with her pink hair now done up in the same ponytail he saw in the hospital. Her sleeves were rolled up with a bucket in one hand and the sponge in the other. She slowly arched one of her eyebrows while continuing to use that voice. Ready. Sakura must have a cat she never told Naruto about because something had his tongue. He wanted to speak. Hell, he even tried to speak, but none of the words he wanted would come out. Some people might be able to produce those undistinguishable garbled remarks, but all Naruto could do was gasp. Good. She plopped the sponge into the bucket and slid it across the floor. When you're done, you can meet me in the kitchen for some breakfast. Afterwards we shall see just how well you have recovered. She smiled fiendishly and made her way out of the room. She never got a glimpse of the ghastly white look upon Naruto's face. While it wasn't quite on the same caliber as the pranks Naruto was used to pulling, it was a start. Maybe soon things could go back to the way things were again. 20 minutes later she was joined in the kitchen by the blonde. He had gotten taller, much taller. He easily had 4 inches on her. Her role as her doctor gained her insight into some other changes that happened as well. He wasn't lanky anymore, or at least she assumed he was pretty lanky back when they were all a part of Team 7. He wasn't buff, if that was what you were thinking. Frankly, that kind of a build was more of a hindrance than anything else to a ninja. Besides, looking that way didn't necessarily make anyone strong or powerful. Sakura was proof enough of that. No, instead Naruto retained his pretty lean build, but he was pretty well see. However, that much was hard to see at the moment. Ninja clothing didn't tend to be very tight-fitting. While that may have its advantages, loose clothing allowed one to hide far more tools. He abandoned that blue and orange jumpsuit he seemed to like so much. Now he wore those standard-issued green pants with a dark top. Sakura couldn't see it, but there were hints of orange on the back of the t-shirt he was wearing. The most interesting part of his new look was the dark tan trench coat he wore over everything else. Naruto walked in with his unchanging smile while his hands were tucked into the pockets of his coat. He saw her sitting there at the breakfast table buttering some toast and placing some fruit upon his plate. Just then something clicked within him. He wasn't sure just what triggered it. It could have been the result of the little prank she played on him earlier. It may have been the sunlight gleaming behind her that caused her hair to look that much brighter. No matter what the cause, she looked far more beautiful right now sitting at that table than he could ever remember. Actually, Naruto did realize what it was. It made him think about being home. He thought about having a life where he could wake up to a loving wife who would take care of him and love him while he did the same, if not more, for her. This moment he was imagining was nothing but a farce though. She was just his friend and doctor who was trying to make sure he got a balanced breakfast. That's all. Come on, Naruto, it was time to grow up. He couldn't cling on to childhood fantasies anymore. Morning, Sakura-chan. She looked back up at him with a smile on her face as well. She tilted her head towards the plate of food she had kept out for him and awaited Naruto to sit down so that they may enjoy a meal together. She had grown up beautifully over the years as well too. Her hair had grown out long again, now reaching past her shoulders down to the middle of her back. Her eyes of course remained that striking green that always caught everyone's attention, though now they felt as if they carried more weight to them. Sakura had finally grown into the body the whole village knew she would one day have. Someone who was so adorably cute as a child was destined to be a beauty once they matured. She had well-defined curves that now attracted more than a few unwanted eyes her way, but that was no problem. Look but don't touch was a good enough policy at the moment. Much to Naruto's satisfaction, it was becoming apparent that his cherry blossom was inheriting more than medical training and an insane amount of strength from the Hokage, as his eyes kept wandering down to just below her neckline. Naruto, what color are my eyes? You have eyes. Naruto, they are the most crystal clear version of emerald green that I have ever seen. It reminds me of those endless meadows found in the grass country, or the leaves from the great tree of Konoha, but those aren't nearly as vibrant. What the? Naruto was not supposed to sound poetic. Oh, she blushed. No, damn it. Naruto would see that much. She just had to tell him not to stare at her chest. Now it was preferable to the other option. Your cheeks are almost as pink as your hair, Sakura-chan. Time to rapidly change the direction of this conversation. Your apartment should be ready soon. Hurry up and eat so we can go out and see how much you have healed. That last part sounded dumb to her as a doctor. How the hell was she supposed to know how much he had healed if she didn't know how much he was capable of? A mental clock blared its alarm within her head. The truth was, even if she knew what Naruto was supposedly capable of, it wouldn't matter. He always had a tendency to go above and beyond his limitations, if he had any. Really. Great. Thanks for letting me stay here in the meantime, Sakura-chan. I can't wait to see my old place again. He was so happy, even about the little things. It never took much to bring a smile to his face. Her life had been pretty glum as of late. She fell into a hapless ninja routine that didn't leave time for much of those simple joys life had to offer. Every day it was wake up, change, go through her training regimen and start her shift at the hospital. There were a few nights where she would head to a bar afterwards and share a drink with an old friend, but those moments became rarer as time passed on. Everyone was so busy being a ninja. They all had missions that took them out to exotic lands where they could meet interesting people, some of whom had never even heard of Konoha. All the interesting people Sakura knew had left her, and she wasn't about to chase after them like some lost puppy. This particular kunoichi hadn't been offered any real missions as of late. The only time her sensei gave her assignments that took her out of the hidden village is when there was a medical emergency that needed to be handled elsewhere and every last mednin would be needed. Naruto put the feeling of living back into her, even though he had only been in Konoha again for just a matter of days. If she had things her way, he wouldn't be leaving for some time to come. Yeah, I wonder why Tsunade-sensei said you couldn't go back just yet. I can't imagine what could have changed there if no one had lived in your place for 7 years. It was nice of her to pay for that lot while you were out. Naruto didn't have to wonder why. The answer was all too clear to him. Frankly, he was glad the old habits die hard. He was glad his mom asked Sakura to lend a room out to him for a few days. One had to wonder why a parent didn't have any reservations at all for a guy and girl to be sharing an apartment, even if it was temporary. Yeah, he quickly finished the plate laid out before him with a fury few had witnessed over the year. It seemed the simpler and thus finer foods in life were a treasure to him. Thanks again for the food, Sakura-chan. Should we get going to the training site? I'm eager to see what you can do now. Sakura-chan, Sakura-chan, Sakura-chan. Why the hell did he keep saying Sakura-chan? The young lady had never heard her name spoken so many times before in a single day, and it was still pretty early in the morning. He went on and on saying Sakura-chan. How long had he been adding the chan to the end of her name? Naruto probably felt closer to her now that she was taking care of him as his doctor. It wasn't the time to bring it up now. She would make a mental note to bring it up again later. Now was the time to finally see just what tricks he had up his sleeves. Well, she did want to show off some of her new abilities to him. She had to prove that she wasn't a burden to him any longer. But that's a monologue for another chapter. Alright Naruto-kun. Let's go. He must have D on the operating table when he reached Konoha. Everything had gone far too smoothly for any of this to be real. Yeah, that's it, he's D. Worse yet, he could be under some form of genjutsu. That would mean he would have to leave this fantasy once the attack wore off, or he would be K and enter a real heaven which couldn't compare. It didn't matter. Anything other than this could be nothing short of hell. Kun. But his simple-minded stuttering was not heard by the pink-haired girl who was now busy answering her door. Strange, no one ever visited her at her home. Kakashi-sensei. Yo. The white-haired former sensei gave his signature half-salute while greeting them with his unseen smile. That was okay. All the greeting the two of them ever needed was always found within his one exposed eye. His other one was once again covered by his forehead protector. I heard you two were rooming together. So when can we expect the children? His form was quickly smashed across the hall as his face met with one hell of an angry fist. That same form once again was shrouded in a puff of smoke as it was replaced with a chair that had been in the hallways. The Junin was next seen in the middle of the apartment holding up 2 fingers to form a peace sign at his returning student. Yo Naruto. Kakashi-sensei. The ninja jumped up and grabbed Kakashi within a hug, one that was returned with a few pats to his back. Hey Naruto, I'm not your sensei anymore. His face remained still though his one eye turned towards Sakura, or yours for that matter. A face peered in from the door and eyed everyone in the room. Kakashi-san. Is everything alright? I heard all this ruckus and was wondering what might have happened. All eyes locked on the young woman who just made her entrance. Rumors had flown about over this mysterious ninja who had tamed the loner in Kakashi. It seems his former students were the best and first ones to know. Everything's fine. Told Ya it was a good idea to wait. These guys can get reckless. Naruto released Kakashi from the hug and looked over at the guest he had brought with him. His eyes grew wide with surprise when he saw the timid young girl enter the apartment. Rin Onichan. Two forms fell upon the ground as they were huffing and puffing up a storm. The battle had indeed turned out to be an intense one, if not rather short. A simple sparring match between two friends should not have become so heated. Naruto-kun, didn't you learn any new jutsus while you were training with Jiraiya-sama all these years? That made this match more unique than any other fight she had witnessed with that particular blonde. Anytime he learned a new move, he was quick to show it off in an overly flashy way. Something must have been wrong. There was no possible way he could have been training with one of the three legendary Sannin and not have learned a single new technique. That only meant he still thought she was a helpless little girl who needed to be treated with kid gloves. If that was the case, much pain awaited him. Of course I did, Sakura-chan. That was a dumb question of her to ask. How could he possibly have spent 7 years training and not learned a single new technique? Sounding a little cross, Sakura folded her arms across her chest and looked away from her sparring partner while sticking her nose up in the air. Then how come you didn't show me any of your new moves? Think I couldn't handle it? Truth be told, Sakura was almost more than a match for Naruto during this little trial fight of theirs, and even she had been holding back a great deal. I'm still feeling kind of weak, Sakura-chan. Most of my new jutsus require a great deal of chakra and stamina. If I used the attack and missed, I would have lost. It seemed his brash attitude about rushing into every fight headfirst had evolved into something more. Using the same trademark ninja techniques he had before had still earned him a slight victory. The outcome would have been very different had the match gone on any longer. The demon container had a look of exhaustion spread rapidly throughout his face despite the fact he was now able to relax. Slowly the pink-haired ninja looked back over at the tired boy looking rather confused. Many things had changed about Naruto since he came back. In many ways he was much stronger and far more mature than she ever thought possible for him. And yet in other ways he almost seemed weaker than before he left. Naruto always had this amazing ability to heal, which she attributed to the Kyuubi. That aside, she knew he had a freakishly large amount of stamina and chakra on his own. Apparently now he just didn't. I meant to ask about that, Naruto-kun. What happened? Before your body was able to heal itself at a ridiculously fast rate and you never used to tire so easily. Her questions weren't supposed to sound like a rude inquiry, but that didn't mean it didn't. With that same fake happy-go-lucky smile plastered upon his face, the orange-clad ninja continued to stare up at the sky with a great deal of intensity. It was becoming more and more obvious why Shikamaru was spending his time like this. Surprising was the fact that his significant other let him. I know about the Kyuubi, there, she had said it and he had heard it. Maybe now the tension building up in the air would start to release. His two blonde eyes rapidly turned to her direction while his face itself refused to move, similar to the way Kakashi's one exposed eye could follow you around a room yet no part of his body would move. So she knows and yet she is still here. No names, no random beatings. No wonder I liked Sakura-chan so much. Yes, there were times when even Naruto began to question why he carried so many feelings for her, and yet he could never deny that his feelings for Sakura only continued to grow. I can't rely on the Kyuubi's power anymore. The more I use it, the more control I can feel it have over me. The smile on his face was gone. No wonder. It was like voluntarily losing your one edge against your opponents. Imagine how Sasuke would feel about refusing to use his Sharingan, or Neji never relying on the powers of his bloodline limit. But you always had a freakish amount of chakra and stamina. She wasn't getting excited in an angry way, but more a relieved one. Naruto was Naruto, but the less of a connection he had with the Nine Tails the better. Sakura believed in his ability to control the beast, but the problem was the rest of the village wasn't so sure. In that last battle, the one where I got so badly injured, an attack was used on me that had the seal that held the Kyuubi constantly suck my chakra away. Eventually I would have ran out and the Kyuubi's powers would have exploded out of me so fast it would have killed both me and the demon. Damn that Uchiha. It was a dirty trick and yet expected of a ninja to use the enemy's advantage against themselves. But Jiraiya-sama and Hokage-sama were able to fix that. I think I should be back to normal in a week's time or so. It's hard to tell. I'm not used to my body healing itself. That much was annoying. The ability to heal and regenerate was a handy little trick to have on the battlefield. Except that much didn't sit right with the kunoichi watching Naruto. Was it possible that he was lying to her? Or maybe he didn't realize what was going on. Surely he wouldn't say he was refusing to tap into the Kyuubi's powers when he was healing right in front of her, ever so slowly. Naruto-kun, your wounds are already starting to heal. You may be losing control. Should I get Hokage-sama? She would at least give him the benefit of the doubt. As said before, Naruto was Naruto. He lazily raised one hand and waved it off, though he was deeply touched and thankful for her concern. It wasn't often someone willingly set out to help him out of concern, at least in Konoha. It's alright, Sakura-chan. For some reason, my body remembers how the Kyuubi used to heal me and kind of picked up on it. It happens kind of slowly right now, but I'm looking for ways to make it go faster. What Sakura couldn't see was that while his body may be healing slowly, his chakra was quickly returning. It was almost like his body copied and modified Kyuubi's ability to heal to suit Naruto's needs. It was just like how he picked up his own Naruto Renden when Sasuke used his Shishi Renden. Oh, okay. Sakura let go of her wool and once again fell upon her back and onto the grass just a few inches away from Naruto. It was nice to be able to just pass the day away and watch the clouds float by. There were parts about childhood that she did dearly miss. Isn't there someone who could help? I'm sure Hokage-sama should be able to. I've already sought out Rin Onichan. The hell, there was no possible way Kakashi's girlfriend could be a more accomplished medical nin than the very Hokage of Konoha. Naruto, that's nice and all, but maybe you should still ask Hokage-sama for some help. Hey wait, you never did tell me how you knew her from before. No one was more surprised by their meeting than Sakura. Naruto had quickly rushed over and hugged the female blonde ninja when she came to visit, shocked that Rin was in this very village. And with Kakashi-sensei no less. Their meeting together left many questions hanging in the air as both Sakura and Kakashi stood stunned at what seemed like a family reunion. Once those initial, "how are you?" questions had passed, Naruto's eagerness to spend some time with Sakura quickly returned as he apologized for a hasty departure and left with Sakura in hand for the training grounds. And here we go. Time for some more of the plot behind this story to begin to uncoil as some of the mysterious background behind Rin and the years Naruto spent training becomes slightly more revealed. She was one of the ninjas that Jiraiya-sama sought out with me in order to become stronger. Jiraiya-sama. Naruto did refer to him that way, but only when he was sure that his sensei was nowhere near enough to hear it. Naruto sat upright and brought his hand to his chin while his mind became engrossed in deep thought. I think her and her sensei were the horse. Naruto. It's not nice to call a lady a horse. Dear God. He was picking up some of his sensei's bad habits. After Tsunade was done smashing him to a pulp, Sakura would show the legendary ninja the new meaning of puree. Naruto's hands immediately went up to a defensive position as his body was jerked up from his laying position by the mere ferocity within her voice. No, I meant like in the Zodiac. The horse. Now it was Sakura's turn to be horridly confused. A far deeper explanation would be required, though the best Naruto could do would be to touch the surface of the matter. Jiraiya-sama had taught me about 24 ninjas that held extraordinary power in their fields, yet had no allegiance to any country. They were called the hidden ninja of the Zodiac. Naruto looked over at Sakura to make sure she was paying attention to what he had to say. This may become crucial later on. Sure enough, Sakura's eyes were filled with concentration, yet her head was thoughtfully tilted to one side. He could have taken a beating and told her that he thought it was cute when she did that, but that would have been a lie. He found it downright saying that would have cost him more than he wished to bargain with. They are 24 ninja who exist in pairs. There is always one master, and one student. They exist to practice and improve upon the unique talents. I met Rin while searching for them. As it turns out, she is the student of the horse pair which specializes in healing. Did you ever find out who her sensei was? Maybe if Rin couldn't help, her sensei could. No, Rin wasn't allowed to tell us. Some kind of code to protect the senseis, I think. The horse specializes in healing alone. Some of their techniques could be used as a fence, I guess, but they lack the practice or experience to do so. They're overly specialized and are only really good at one field. That's why the hidden ninjas of the Zodiac aren't as powerful as the Kages. Naruto failed to add a far more obvious reason why they could never obtain such a high position and power within any country, but that is best left for later. Sakura stood up and brushed some of the dust off of her clothing and slowly made her way towards Naruto. She sat down cross-legged in front of him and rested her head on top of her fist. So you can use some medical jutsus now. An eyebrow twitched. This could be painful. This was supposed to be the field Sakura had a monopoly on. Naruto never learned a new move in a manner that didn't exploit its full potential. If he was a better medical ninja than she was. The blonde slowly slinked back with his arms held up defensively again as he sensed his impending doom. No. I lacked the chakra control necessary to do it and Rin couldn't spend her time teaching me. I just wanted to learn more about my natural ability to heal from her. Truthfully, he had been taught how to do a few techniques, but he wasn't able to yet. The control and precision needed was absolutely absurd. Sakura slid over to Naruto but this time sat at his side, which allowed her head to rest upon his shoulder. Her eyes were open but they began blinking far faster than they normally would. I wonder what Rin-san was doing out there. She wore a Konoha headband and if she knew Kakashi then she must have been from around here. Naruto remained quiet about the subject. That meant there would be nothing further revealed on the topic as to why she left this village, or what brought her back, yet. So Naruto-kun, how many of these Zodiac ninjas did you find? She looked up at his face and found that goofy smile. He looked so much like a kid with his, I'm not telling, face, but she would teach him that all kids do grow up. Slowly she brought one finger to her lips just enough so she could nibble on the very tip of it. With big wide eyes she looked up at him and spoke in her cutest voice. Please tell me, Naruto-kun. It will be our little secret. If she kept this up, his arteries may clog from cuteness. He had no choice but to surrender. 4 of them. But it wasn't an unconditional surrender. He would have some fun himself. Finding no reason to continue her little ploy, Sakura resumed resting her head upon his shoulder and awaited his elaboration. When none came she had to offer up her own series of questions. Which 4 did you meet? Horse, rooster, dragon, and tiger. I met the senseis for the last 3. He would slowly build up tension till it was time to exact his revenge upon Sakura for her devious mind games. Oh, this could be trouble. If Naruto sought him out, that meant he spent a good amount of time training with them. That wasn't as bad as the fact that Rin-san was actually quite pretty. That meant there could be attractive girls in those other pairings. Were there any really cute GI, she wouldn't be given the opportunity to finish. The dragon and the tiger. Ha. Success. Not only had he managed to lure Sakura into his trap, but his eyes took on a dreamy look as he appeared to recall fond memories. Sakura's head rapidly lifted up off his shoulder yet again in order to look at him and catch his star-eyed gaze. Naruto-kun. She grabbed his collar and began shaking him. Naruto-kun. If a little didn't work, try harder. Soon her hair was being flapped about as she tried to knock him out of his daze. Naruto-kun. Yes, Sakura-chan. Play innocent, play dumb to the situation. Very little acting would be needed. Sounds like they were very attractive then. HMMFPH. Naruto actually seems like a 20-year-old now, not just a child trapped in a man's body. He would only continue his ploy for a short while longer. He had a feeling. Sakura understand the fact she was being played. Oh very. Especially the Tiger twins. Wow. Don't expect I'll ever forget Maya and Aya. Or all that special attention they gave. The smile he gave now was anything but fake. His adventures with them would make for great drinking stories to tell to his buddies, so long as the kunoichi of the village were all very far away. With clenched fists, Sakura slowly tilted her head straight at Naruto. I mean, what tigresses. The time for little games had ended though. Something like this was very important to Sakura. The pink kunoichi's anger diffused out of her as she adopted a more serious tone. Until she had a real reason to berate him, she had no right to get mad at him. So does that mean you? Just how experienced was he now? With Aya, for a little while. He held a little bit of a grin while doing so. It wasn't out of innocence or spite, but something more personal. He always wanted to know that he too could be considered a desirable guy. He needed to know that somewhere somehow he could be the one who gets the attractive girl to fall for him and that there was hope for anyone. It should have been as simple as going to a village outside of Konoha to be treated just like any other man, but the council elders were malicious in their hatred for the boy and the fox held within. So you guys broke up. It's hard to say if the voice was really hopeful, more curious than anything else. Sakura reminded herself to be careful with her temper, seeing as that it wasn't any of her business about what Naruto did in his past. I left. I learned from them what I needed to, and Jiraiya-sama said it was time to move on and seek out some of the other hidden ninjas. That was true. Leaving those two was almost as hard as leaving Konoha. The difference was when he left the Tiger Twins, he got over it less than 2 days later. So tell me about her then, this Aya. Was she pretty? What did Naruto like in a girl? What did he like in anything? She knew very little about him outside of the fact he loved ramen, was going to be Hokage one day, and never went back on his word, especially when helping a friend. She missed out on all those little tidbits of likes and dislikes that make up a person. Well, I guess the part one liked most about her was her unusual hair. That's one thing I love about different girls. Check. She had this dark midnight black hair with streaks of orange going through it. It was so long and shimmers. Something dawned on the dim-witted boy. Why intelligence on the battlefield didn't mean intelligence off the battlefield is a mystery that's better left unsolved. Sakura-chan, it's kind of weird talking to a girl about another girl. Are you sure you wanted to hear this? Of course, Naruto. You're my friend and I want to know all about you. Was a half lie half as bad as a lie, or was it a lie where you were just kidding yourself and the other person? Oh, okay, well, what else do you want to know? Someone with his life experience should have realized he was walking right into a train wreck. All he had to do was get off the tracks, but that would be doing things the easy way. Tell me about her eyes. This more than anything would mean something to Sakura. She had a basis for comparison. They were black. That seemed like a fair enough question to him. That's it. Mentally she crossed her fingers while awaiting his response. What else is there to say, Sakura-chan? They were eyes, she had 2 of them, and they were black. Simple. Why was it necessary to focus on a trait that everyone had? They are the most crystal clear version of emerald green that I have ever seen. It reminds me of those endless meadows found in the grass country, or the leaves from the great tree of Konoha, but those aren't nearly as vibrant. That's why. She had a basis of comparison now. She was beginning to understand how that strange little mind of his worked. This time it was Sakura's turn to smile dopily at the dope. Naruto squinted his eyes at her, wondering what running through that cute little head she had on her shoulders when it suddenly became apparent. Of course. She must be remembering someone she dated while I was away. Well, turnabout is fair play. So Sakura-chan, have you met anyone special while I was gone? He didn't have to worry about her falling back into a typical Sasuke freak. Someone at the hospital had, accidentally, let it slip that the female ninja had become strong enough to get over certain emotions. It was a shame that it cost her the majority of her feelings in the process for a long while. There hasn't been anyone special in Konoha since you two left, Barker. But with Naruto home again, that all seemed to be changing. No, not really. A few guys have asked. Most were too afraid to do so. Only Lee dared to ask more than twice. But I never felt like going. I had to work and stuff, you know. Her hands found their way wrapping around her knees as her head bent down so she could look upon the floor. Sakura was still only telling half-truths at the moment. That was okay. Naruto could handle that for the moment. Have you had your eye on someone? No girl could possibly ignore the entire male side of the species for 7 years, no matter how stupid men proved themselves to be. Naruto-kun, he turned as pink as her hair. I didn't really mean it when I said you haven't shown me anything new when we battled. That was a sneaky little trick you did. I didn't expect you to come up with that. Looks like you are pretty good with strategy yourself. It was becoming strange. First Sakura had inflated his hopes, then deflated it by talking about their match, and then reinflating it by praising him. What the hell was wrong with straight answers again? He laughed a little while rubbing the back of his head with his right hand in his trademark Naruto style. Well, I had to get better at the basics at some point. It was how he won the battle actually. He was fighting an opponent who knew him and his personality rather well, so he would have to use it to his advantage. When creating a massive amount of shadow clones, no one suspected that he would create normal replications as well. While using an attack to punch straight through many of the clones, Sakura overextended herself and lost her balance when she realized there was no pressure created from punching the clone. This allowed Naruto just enough time to deliver a blow to Sakura's midsection and thus claiming the battle. What he had not counted on was the fact Sakura was able to deliver a similar blow to him at the same time. The match would have ended in a draw if Naruto wasn't able to maintain his shadow clones, but that had given him the edge. Thanks Sakura-chan, but you didn't answer my question. This wasn't fair. How come he was made to divulge his past yet hers was allowed to remain a secret? Stupid double standards. Come on Naruto-kun. I'll treat you to lunch. Got to keep you fed so you can heal faster. I want to see just how strong you really are so I won't have to hold back anymore. She winked at him slyly as she made her way up and started walking back towards the village. Her hand was stuck out expectantly as if she was waiting for him to come and take it as they head back. Finding his chakra restored, he moved in the blink of an eye from his current position to her side, leaving a blank expression upon her face. She couldn't follow him again. Damn, I will have to ask him about that technique again later. I guess it could be possible that. So let's go then. It didn't take much to make the blonde ninja forget about the line of questions he had for Sakura. Alright, but one condition. Crap, these always tended to be painful. Next time we fight, you have to use some of your new techniques. Wow, this condition wasn't horribly unfair. Statistics finally worked in his favor. I'll show you mine if you show me yours. He smiled semi-evilly, leaving no doubt to what he referred to. Just when things were going peacefully, he had to screw it up with a line like that. Sakura began walking while her hand was clenched onto Naruto's. Promise. Of all the possibilities, he hadn't expected that outcome and gulped. Simple stutterings were the only things his mouth could produce. Come on, Barker, she said jokingly. Together they walked back into town while one thought was shared between them. I wonder how long he has loved me. I wonder how long she has loved me. Sakura's head quietly peeked through the door and revealed a room that had not been tread into for years. However, judging by the cleanliness of the place, one would have never realized that the apartment had been abandoned for 7 long years. That left only one important question burning in the medical ninja's mind. Why was Hokage-sama so hesitant in letting Naruto back into his own apartment so soon? What was the need for all those delays? She looked around and absorbed the quality of his multiple room setup. For a bachelor who rarely cooked, he had a nice enough kitchen. The living room was a decent size, suitable for entertaining a guest or two. As for the bedroom, well, she hadn't seen that much yet. Frankly, it was probably a little bit better than the apartment she had been staying at. Naruto soon followed the kunoichi into the apartment and looked as a nagging familiarity was soon pulsating throughout him. How strange must it have felt to return to a place that served as a house but rarely offered the warmth and comfort of a home. The blonde ninja looked around nervously for a few moments before he allowed his mind to relax. It looks like Tsunade-sama has been taking good care of your apartment while you were gone. It must have been expensive to keep a place like this rented out for 7 years with no one using it. Sakura looked over at a now calm Naruto. His previous demeanor upon entering the room was enough to cause her to raise an eyebrow as she proceeded with her inquiry. Naruto-kun, were you expecting something else? Did they change something about this place while you were gone? The returned ninja just continued with that great big smile of his as he went about rediscovering portions of his lost residence. This was a time for good memories. Forgive me, Sakura-chan, but would you like something to drink? Jiraiya may have been a pervert, but he didn't fail to pass on the more noble ways to treat both a lady and a guest. Hopefully drinks didn't go bad. If they did, well, she was a medical ninja, wasn't she? No, that's okay. I'm not really thirsty right now. She turned around and began her own exploring of his nice place here. Actually, we wouldn't mind some tea. Both ninjas glanced towards the window where they say two familiar yet smiling faces looking back upon them. Well, one could only assume Kakashi was smiling underneath that mask. It was hard to judge his expressions based solely upon one lazy exposed eye. You're late. This time only Naruto would point out his teacher's tardiness. Sakura had no idea her former sensei was supposed to show up now. Damn. That meant her plans would have to be delayed just a little bit. Should I even bother with an excuse right now? After so many years, a guide has run out of reasons for being so tardy. Not this time, Kakashi-san. Rin diverted her attention away from Kakashi and toward the two children within the apartment. They entered casually and took a seat upon the apparently new furniture that had been placed here. So Naruto-kun, how have you been enjoying life back in Konoha? How has he been enjoying life here? Or perhaps a better question could be, how much has he been enjoying the lie here? Many years had passed and all should have been forgotten. The attack upon this village by an evil demon fox should be but a memory to even the most vengeful haters. And yet what was happening around the village could not be ignored. People still whispered whenever he walked by, though now they were less likely to take action against one who could defend himself. Members of various powerful clans still awaited just outside his apartment complex in order to get the jump on the boy who contained a demon, yet no one would dare make such a move when the apprentice of the Hokage herself was accompanying him. It was as easy to love someone as it is to hate them for an eternity. The sad truth was that with this prolonged passage of time, many forgot why they despised him so much. Now they acted only on past experience and the desire to promote their image within the town by trashing the hopes and dreams of someone who only wanted to belong. Even the affection he well received from his beloved Sakura-chan could be nothing more than a temporary farce. True, he realized that the pink-haired girl did indeed love him, but the possibility of it being anything more than a friendly love was too slim for it to even be hoped. It was more likely to see the head of the Hyuga household come down and offer their sincere apologies for their part in Naruto's mistreated past. The time they had spent together was absolutely blissful. A memory to be cherished in all those dark times that would come now that he was back here. But all it took was one little piece of happiness, one tiny candle in an unlit room to drive the darkness away. Soon Sakura would have to go back to working her regular shifts at the hospital while Naruto returned to active duty for missions. Time would become scarce and days that one hoped would continue for an eternity would come to pass and linger as memories. So how did he enjoy the lie he had been living since his return? How would he answer the question posed by Kakashi's companion? The same way he always would. He brought out his wide smile mixed in with a little dopey laugh as one hand reached behind and rubbed the back of his head. There is no place like Konoha. Well, it wasn't a lie. Not really. That's good, Naruto-kun. Maybe with you around, we can convince Kakashi-san to stop taking so many dangerous missions and spend more time here as well. That particular genius ninja couldn't be bothered for a response as he was preoccupied with a book no one had seen him pull out. No, it wasn't the same Ika Ika series he carried with him wherever he went. He would have woken up one morning missing some valuable parts if Rin ever caught him with one of those books again. Sorry, but you can't keep a good ninja down. He heroically thrust one fist into the air to do a manly pose as he continued his monologue. If ninjas like us didn't go out and do dangerous missions like protect the princess, fight off the evil ninjas, save the village, and see the grass, Sakura added in dryly. And see the grass. The overactive shinobi stumbled over his feet at the casual mention of such a lame chore. A ninja of his caliber could not be forced to undertake such menial labor. Ha, what? What are you talking about, Sakura-chan? Kakashi's one visible eye moved away from his reading material and towards the pink kunoichi as she offered her explanation. Well, you missed the last 14 Chunin exams, right? So that means you're still a genin and genins get those kind of missions. Unless of course you wanted to be treated differently again and ask for special permission to take more advanced missions. But, once again Naruto was at a loss for words. It seems he hadn't thought out his return to the home village as well as he would have liked to think. Rin stifled a laugh that was sure to escape her mouth otherwise. Indeed, it was easy to see who held the control in such a relationship. Kakashi was right. Sakura didn't mean to strangle his hopes of undertaking such perilous high-ranking shinobi missions, but it was once again one of those times where it was okay for someone like her to be a little selfish. If Naruto started taking missions that sent him far away from Konoha again, there was always a chance that one time he wouldn't come back. There was always a chance he could end up dead, but the greater threat lay in the fact that he may just discover that there is something better for him out there. The fact he failed to come across this something better during his travels with Jiraiya was nothing short of a miracle. At least she wouldn't tell him that the next Chunin exam wasn't for another 5 months. That would send him off the top. Well, the next Chunin exam is in a little over 5 months. You could take it then. Crap. Kakashi's timing was always a little lacking. To everyone's amazement, the outburst of downright indignation from a certain loudmouth ninja never came. There were no temper tantrums thrown about as if from a newborn infant, nor any complaints over how it was unfair he was being treated this way, since once again none of this was really his fault. Instead, Naruto merely coolly looked over everyone in the room and said with a smile, "Well then, I guess I better prepare for those exams, huh? Wouldn't want to stay the only genin from the rookie 9, now would I?" Dear God. The boy's maturity had once again shown its calm, collected head and didn't cease to amaze anyone in the room. In a hushed manner, Sakura tried to slip in a few words to her old sensei. "Hey, Kakashi-sensei, is it just me or?" "No, it's not." The boy finally grew up. Was this one of the signs that the end of days was near? Everything would be fine now for Sakura. If Naruto went back to taking those meaningless missions and training around Konoha, then she would get her opportunities to spend more time with him and finally create that bond with another that she had been seeking her whole life. Maybe she could get Naruto to agree to train with her whenever they got the chance. She had plenty of days left on her vacation and sick leave, so it shouldn't be a problem to take a day off every so often in order to do so. She could just imagine spending the day working so close with him for hours at end. Working, running, sweating together while they create a deeper emotional need for each other's company. Then there would be lunches together to get some ramen during the day, but once their training was over they would share an evening picnic to gather their strength once dinner time rolled about. Yes, this plan looked as if it would work out perfectly if she just played her cards right. Unfortunately, playing her cards right didn't mean watching Naruto all starry-eyed and thus make him self-conscious that there was a stain somewhere on his shirt. To hide her embarrassment, she began collecting the empty dishes from the table once everyone had finished with their tea, as general casual conversation began to ensue once again. However, very little ever escaped the all-seeing eye of Kakashi. My Sakura-chan. You almost look like a good housewife for Naruto by taking care of him like this and collecting the dishes like that when company is over." A loud crash was heard as all the china quickly met with the floor once introduced to the concept of gravity. Immediately sensing impending danger, Rin hurriedly grabbed Kakashi as they made their way towards the window. "Well, thanks for having us over. It was so nice to see you again. I will need to talk to you sometime tomorrow, Naruto-kun, it's important." As surprisingly as they had arrived, both were already gone. That left poor and unfortunate Naruto to deal with the wrath that had been stirred up in Sakura. It had been a very long time since she last felt so energetic, but her body was quickly refamiliarizing itself with how to handle the situation. Rolling up imaginary sleeves, the pretty pink girl stomped her way towards Naruto with a look that would frighten children upon her face. Was it wrong for the blonde ninja to be absolutely turned on by all of this? Who doesn't like a feisty woman with a little zest in her? So you think you can just show me off as some trophy housewife, do you? Do you? To hell with the tailed demons that Akatsuki were chasing. If they got hold of an angry Sakura, the world was screwed. No, of course not. I would never show you off as some sort of trophy wife. Now most women would probably bring up a remark like, "So that means I'm not pretty enough to be a trophy wife," but Sakura was hardly the standard female. When Naruto was around, she never had any doubts what her appearance alone did to the male species. Quote, once he was asleep in his room, Sakura went about preparing a makeshift bed for herself in his living room. There were no underhanded or secret motives behind such an action. She was supposed to be his personal doctor until he was fully healed, and the best way to do that would be to remain as close to him as possible at all times. It was really for the benefit of the medical community. She tried to move the couch from its current position towards the other sofa. Together they should have made a decent-sized yet comfortable bed. However, the inanimate object seemed to have other plans. It appears that it was bolted down. Strange, theft wasn't really an issue in a hidden village like Konoha. Casting the strange signs aside, Sakura used her limitless strength to pry the couch away from its locked location, only to discover a very surprising fact about Naruto's apartment. It seems that much of the wallpaper had dried itself onto the sofa itself. That meant everything must have been done recently and in a hurry. Perhaps that's why Tsunade-sama wanted Naruto to be kept away from his home for so long. Except the world is rarely that kind to the boy who never stopped smiling. Behind the rashly placed wallpaper she found the signs of his shame that he never wanted revealed to anyone. It wasn't the only set of wallpaper placed there in recent history, as layers of different patterns underneath could always be found. And it appeared, on each new layer of wallpaper, a whole new slew of insults could be found that would strike at the core of anyone's beings. You are Yondaim's curse. We will kill you in your sleep. Get out of Konoha, bastard. You were never a part of this village. Your family didn't want you. Neither do we. Failure. Monster. On and on went the insults on just a small portion of the wall. Could the people from this town really hate him so much for things that were never his fault? Wasn't it enough to attack and beat him senseless on the street, but now to invade his home and trash the place that should have been his safe haven? Did the people here have no sense of justice and honor? Was the great city of Konoha really nothing more than a village for those who knew no limits to the feelings hate provided? Sakura began using her medical training and collected tiny amounts of chakra within her eye. Normally such a procedure would allow her to see within a ninja's body without the need to see it open, but here it allowed her to see all the things people had written over the past 20 years. The more the young woman continued to read, the harder she found it to contain the tears. What kind of ninjas would do this? It wasn't always ninjas, not after the Chunin exams at least. Every once in a while the villagers would come over and torch the place. Thankfully I always got warning enough to escape before anything got out of hand. Truthfully, many ninjas never looked upon Naruto with scorn from the very beginning. The more powerful and high-ranked the ninja, the more they respected Naruto and what he had been chosen to do in order to ensure the safety of the village. Unfortunately, the sad truth was it was wrong for ninjas to use their techniques against their own civilians. The best they could do was warn the poor boy whenever they got the chance. Naruto-kun, I didn't. However, Naruto wasn't going to listen to the mindless ramblings that she spoke. It would be best if he just explained things his way instead of responding to her emotionally driven comments. Someone always gave me a warning when they were coming over to do something like that. I found out later who it was, but that's not important right now, I guess. I dunno. I guess after a while you get used to this kind of thing. If I am going to get attacked outside of my home, why should I feel any safer inside? Those sniffles, those tears, for once they weren't coming from Sakura. Naruto had finally come to show how much of a man he had grown up to be, by finally crying. Hiding one's true feelings was the result of immaturity and youth that only foolish children had. The ninja crashed down to his feet as the sobs freely escaped the prison of his eyes. Sakura quickly made her way over to him and wrapped her own arm around him. Maybe it wouldn't take away all the hurt, all the pain he had been forced to endure as the years went on, but at least now he would know that he was finally not all alone. Naruto-kun, Barker, you should always feel safe in your home. Slowly she began stroking those wonderfully soft golden locks that rested upon his head. How they managed to smell like sunshine was beyond her. And all those years, whenever we went on missions or trained, you always greeted us with a smile. You never told us what was going on. How could you not hate everyone? How could you look at us every day and still smile? His crying slowed down until it reached to a stop. His eyes shimmered as water continued to fill up, but the time for that had passed. His own hands were now tightly wrapped around Sakura with no intention to let her go. If she had other plans in mind, that was too bad for her. Hate the people of Konoha because they hate me. And then they hate me more because I hate them. How is that supposed to solve anything? How was that supposed to make my life any fairer? That's what someone very wise once wrote to me. It was an amazingly profound perception on life, almost to the point where it didn't sound right coming from Naruto. That much meant Sakura was still getting used to the new mature version of himself. Who Naruto? Who wrote that to you? Who cared for Naruto so much while many others wanted nothing more than to cause him pain, to make him the scapegoat for all their own misery? More importantly, Sakura had to deal with the fact that the person comforting Naruto back then wasn't her. The tears continued to stream down from Sakura's emerald green eyes as she couldn't overcome the sorrow. He had yet to say it, but she played a huge role in creating the grief he had to come to terms with before he even reached his teenage years. When it became obvious that he wouldn't answer her question just yet, she continued on. You were lonely, weren't you? You were always sad even though you were smiling. All you wanted was someone to be your friend, didn't you? Even now, all he could do was grin and nod his head slightly. Idiot. Moron. Jerk. Frankly, that wasn't exactly the comfort from Sakura he was expecting or looking for. How could I have been such an idiot? Naruto-kun, will you forgive me for everything? The blonde shinobi smiled at her in his award-winning way and once again simply nodded his head. Already she was figuring out the difference between his false smiles and the real genuine looks. I'll let you accept my apology on one condition. Somehow she made it sound like she was doing him a favor by letting him accept her apology. And that is, again, conditions typically never went favorably in his way. Will you be my friend? And yet, screw statistics. Well, before he could finish with whatever clever response he had lined up, Sakura K. Naruto again. There was no deception, no false pretenses, just love. In the end, what else really mattered? That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.